Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your November the 12th Spiritual Principle Day in a meditation. I hope you're having a beautiful morning. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get into our meditation. It is entitled Removing Barriers to Inclusiveness. Sounds interesting. Let's see what it has to say. We start to look more carefully at what makes a meeting feel safe and welcoming. Living Clean, Chapter 4, Disability. We know the struggles of addiction firsthand, the danger and degradation. We remember what it was like to walk into our first meeting, to feel that initial spark of hope. We pray for the addict who still suffers, and we feel for them because we've been there. Our empathy helps us see our meetings, meeting places, and all of the social interactions surrounding them through others' eyes. We genuinely want every addict seeking recovery to feel safe and welcome when they walk through the doors. When we're on our spiritual A game, empathy guides our choices and ensures that we are inclusive. It's easy to get lazy, however. We neglect the proper consideration of others' needs. We may even justify our complacency and squash new ideals with the classic, "This is the way we've always done it." Experience has a way of nudging out such smugness. When a home group member comes to need a wheelchair, it highlights the necessity for an accessible meeting place. When a hard of hearing member explains the importance of visual cues in communication, we follow their lead. We change the room setup with attention to lighting, acoustics, and sight lines. When new members come from outside the dominant culture, we go out of our way to welcome them. If diversity challenges us personally, perhaps we need to examine our reservations about the NA message. We recommit to the proposal that any addict can find recovery in NA. Empathy, generosity, and inclusiveness guide us toward a new perspective on helping addicts find a safe and welcoming place to surrender. As the first tradition suggests, we put our common welfare first. We plan for needs that haven't yet surfaced. We remove barriers to participation, physical, perceptual, or cultural, and do what's in our power to make NA truly available to us all. I will look at my home group with fresh eyes and imagine how someone different from me might experience it. What can I do to make first-time attendees feel safer and more welcome? Deep. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer, and then we'll unpack it. Moment of silence, please. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Wow, what a deep meditation. Removing barriers to inclusiveness. Now, I believe for myself, because I've come from a background that is highly diverse, I would say easily 95% of my family would be considered multi-race, okay? Multiracial, multicultural. So there is a lot of diversity in my family on my mother's side. So some of the things that would be a challenge for someone from, say, maybe the dominant culture to adjust to, or the minority culture to adjust to, I don't necessarily have those issues. But don't you think for one second that there aren't some issues that I do have. I do have my share, and I'm aware of them, acutely aware of them. I really enjoyed this particular meditation, and I want to be as organic as I possibly can. I'm not retaping this meditation over a few misspoken words. I'm not going to do it. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to recreate, I don't want to be responsible for recreating this authentic moment right now. This is a meditation that could last for years with me. I love it. It truly shows, I just want to compliment Narcotics Anonymous, first of all. It truly shows just how far we as a fellowship have come. To actually have something that is tangible, that we can hold, that we can read, that we can meditate upon in regards to removing barriers to inclusiveness is a powerful, powerful statement about the progress that the fellowship has made. We're talking about going from the mothership of NA, the other fellowship, AA, and the mentality that people that were using other substances besides alcohol needed to have their own program. So now we birth NA, and we're using the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, all of the things that have come to us by way of the mother organization, right? The mothership. And even in the development, if you read our book called Miracles Happen, you can find it on the website, na.org. When you read that particular book, you learn just how much Narcotics Anonymous was a miracle, how much of a miracle Narcotics Anonymous actually was. Because that was a time period where you could not openly say that you were an addict and be well received. There was a place for those people to go. So we've come a long way. To be able to develop groups, meet in facilities, come together as recovering addicts, we have come a very long way. To get to the point where we are today with this meditation, which in the example, they actually give us, say for instance, someone that is wheelchair bound and they need to make it to our meeting, or maybe a home group member becomes wheelchair bound. And now all of a sudden we are trying to think of how do we get this individual into our meeting? Right? So now we're conscientious of the fact that we need a place to meet that is wheelchair accessible? Does it have a ramp? If it doesn't have a ramp, are the doors wide enough for a wheelchair to go through it? Once they get in, is the meeting on that same level or is it on a lower level? If it's on a lower level, is there an elevator? Isn't that something? We go from just worrying about our disease of addiction and how we need to recover to being concerned about another person and how accessible the NA meetings are to them. That's growth. I'm very proud of Narcotics Anonymous right now. And then when I think about the next things that they mention, hard of hearing members. Okay. So we may not have someone that is able to do sign language. There are meetings that are being held that are for people that are hard of hearing. So there's meetings that they can make, but maybe they can't make those meetings. Maybe the meetings that we're holding are the ones that they can make. And so say maybe we don't know someone that does ASL or have the willingness to sign for every member that shares so this one or two individuals can understand what's going on. And my understanding from even just having individuals in my family that do know ASL and that are hard of hearing, they're very good at reading lips. But what if the person is speaking, their head is down while they're reading, or in the, you know what I'm saying? They're looking down when they share. A person that's hard of hearing that read lips would not be able to figure out what that person is saying. So we go from one reading to the next. How does the person that is hard of hearing know that we've moved on to another reading? Is it possible that we can incorporate visual cues that would help them, where the acoustics in the building are good and the lighting is good for those individuals that might not be able to see very well? I think this is beautiful. I think this meditation gives us a lot to think about. We're all encouraged to think about, if I was a new member coming to my home group, how would what is going on right now affect me? And what can I do to make sure that we are an attraction to the person that is coming to our meeting? You know, here they make a comment that's somewhat emphasizing the diversity, the racial diversity, right? The cultural diversity. What if someone comes in to our meeting that is not from our culture? Let me just put it like that. A predominantly Black meeting and someone comes in that is white, or maybe they're Latinx, they come into the meeting. How do we respond to make sure that they know that here in Narcotics Anonymous, we're not interested in your race, creed, religion, lack of religion, your gender? We're not interested. We're interested in you as an addict seeking recovery. But all that other stuff, we just leave that at the door. We just come in here and we recover. So regardless to what culture you come from, regardless to your race, you should feel welcomed here. And it's my responsibility as a home group member to make sure that when I see you come through the door and I have an inclination that you might be somewhat uncomfortable, it's my job to give back freely what was given to me, to open my arms to you and allow you to come into that meeting and take you and make you feel the love and the warmth of this recovering atmosphere. We talk about no addict need ever be left alone or feel alone. But we know for a fact that we've made meetings where no one made us feel welcome. No one opened their arms to us. No one hugged us. No one said, come sit down next to us. Unfortunately, it happens every day. However, after reading this meditation, if you're not moved by it, that you will look at your home group with fresh eyes and imagine how it must feel for someone different from you to experience it. And start to think about what can you do to make sure that first-time attendees coming to your meeting, your home group, feel safer and more welcome. It's not just the chairperson's responsibility, the secretary's responsibility. No. It is all of our responsibility to make sure that we are diligent about removing barriers to inclusiveness, whatever they are. When we say we're not interested in your race, creed, religion, lack of religion, when we say that, we need to make sure we mean it and that we put the action and the service work behind it so that it shows. My name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you. This is a deep, deep meditation, but quite simple too, right? When we think about how welcomed we felt when we first came around. I hope that you will think about it. I hope that you will pray and meditate about it. I hope that you will incorporate it into your everyday recovery lifestyle to make sure that these barriers are being removed. It's very important. And I also hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose. I'll be talking to you soon.